Electricity is basically the wizard behind the curtain of modern life, lighting our homes, charging our phones, and doing all the heavy lifting we never see. But what if we never discovered it? No light bulbs, no social media scrolls, no low battery panic. Instead, we'd probably be living in a world where steam-powered gadgets rule, and maybe even inventing horse-powered smartphones. Let's dive into this alternate reality and imagine how life would look without electricity, probably not as Instagrammable. The early understanding of electricity. Electricity's history dates back over 2,600 years, with early observations in ancient civilizations. In ancient Greece, Thales of Miletus discovered that rubbing amber against animal fur created static electricity, attracting light objects like feathers. The Egyptians also encountered electric fish, such as the Nile catfish, which produced electric shocks and were used therapeutically. However, it wasn't until the 18th century that the scientific understanding of electricity advanced, largely due to figures like Benjamin Franklin. Franklin's famous kite experiment in 1752 demonstrated that lightning was a form of static electricity, though several European scientists had conducted similar experiments. His work helped connect lightning and electricity, forming the foundation for later developments in electrical science. The groundbreaking discoveries of early scientists. Benjamin Franklin's experiments were groundbreaking, but they were not entirely original. In fact, they followed a series of similar investigations by other European scientists. A month before Franklin's kite experiment, French scientist François Dalibard used a 50-foot vertical rod to attract lightning in Paris. Dalibard's experiment was successful, and he was able to capture the electrical charge from the storm, which he referred to as electric fluid. Meanwhile, in Russia, Mikhail Lomonosov conducted similar experiments with lightning, establishing that electricity was a tangible force that could be studied and understood. These experiments were part of a broader European movement in the 18th century that sought to unravel the mysteries of natural forces like electricity. Franklin, largely due to his own independent work and his famous kite experiment, became the symbol of this electrifying breakthrough. Despite his fame, it's crucial to recognize that Franklin did not discover electricity in the sense we often think. Rather, his work helped solidify the idea that electricity could be captured, stored, and controlled. His use of a Leyden jar, an early form of a capacitor, allowed him to collect and store electricity, which laid the foundation for future developments in electrical technology. Franklin's discovery wasn't an isolated event. It was part of a larger scientific movement that involved contributions from multiple thinkers across Europe. A world without electricity. Now, imagine for a moment that we never discovered the full potential of electricity. What would the world look like today if this powerful force remained elusive to our ancestors? While it might seem like a rather bleak scenario, the truth is that human ingenuity would have found alternative ways to fuel progress. Though the absence of electricity would have meant the loss of some of the technological wonders we take for granted, it doesn't necessarily mean that our world would have been stunted in development. Instead, we would have seen the rise of alternative power sources, and innovation would have taken a different but still impressive path. Gas and steam power. Without electricity, the most likely candidates for powering the world's machines and appliances would be gas and steam. In the 19th century, steam power was already the driving force behind much of the Industrial Revolution. Steam engines powered trains, ships, and factories, and were central to innovations in transportation and manufacturing. In a world without electricity, steam power would likely have seen even more widespread use. The technology behind steam engines would have evolved to become more efficient, reliable, and powerful. Steam-powered vehicles might have become the standard mode of transportation, and it's possible that air travel could have been developed using steam-powered engines. At the same time, gas-powered appliances would have become a far more common feature of everyday life. Today, we use electricity to power refrigerators, stoves, and even clothes dryers, but without electricity, these appliances would be powered by gas. Early forms of lighting, such as gas lamps, would likely have evolved into brighter, more efficient forms of illumination. Innovations in mechanical technology. Without electricity, mechanical technologies would have taken center stage in human innovation. While the electric motor has revolutionized manufacturing and transportation, mechanical systems driven by steam, water, and gas could have been further advanced. In fact, mechanical technology would likely have become far more sophisticated, with humans developing increasingly intricate systems to perform tasks that are now done by electricity-powered machines. Imagine a world where all manufacturing is done by massive, steam-powered machines, where mechanical gears, pulleys, and levers perform tasks now handled by electric motors. Factories might still have been the beating heart of industrial production, but without electric power, they would have operated on a different set of technologies. The lack of electricity might have also meant that we would have found alternative ways to power devices like clocks, engines, and even early computing machines. The development of mechanical computing devices, like the analytical engine invented by Charles Babbage, might have evolved into the foundation for computational technology, but without electricity as a power source. A different path for communication and information sharing. One of the most significant impacts of the discovery of electricity is on communication and information sharing. Electricity has powered inventions like the telegraph, the telephone, radio, television, and more recently, the internet. These technologies have allowed humans to communicate instantaneously over vast distances, transforming the way we share knowledge, news, and culture. In a world without electricity, however, we would have had to rely on more manual forms of communication. It's likely that systems like the telegraph or semaphore signaling would have evolved differently, but the absence of electricity would have forced people to be more creative in how they connected across distances. Perhaps we would have developed alternative communication technologies, such as mechanical systems for sending messages or a form of postal communication that evolved into a much more complex network of delivery. Without electricity, our concept of information sharing would have been fundamentally different. While the printing press was already a game changer in the 15th century, the absence of electricity would have limited our ability to transmit large amounts of information at high speed. Instead, we might have seen a greater emphasis on physical forms of media, such as books, newspapers, and handwritten letters. Innovations like photography or film might still have existed, but their impact would have been limited without electric power to facilitate their distribution. The evolution of medical technologies. Without electricity, the development of modern medical technologies would have been drastically altered. Today, many medical devices, such as MRI machines, pacemakers, and electric-powered surgical tools, rely heavily on electricity to function. Without electricity, medical advancements in imaging, diagnostics, and treatment methods would have been forced to take a different path. It's possible that we would have seen more reliance on mechanical or chemical-based technologies in the medical field. For example, without electric-powered medical imaging, doctors might have relied more heavily on physical examinations, manual tools, and chemical analysis. Similarly, while surgical procedures would still have advanced, they would have been performed using more rudimentary mechanical tools instead of electric-powered devices. However, it's worth noting that many medical practices, such as herbal remedies and traditional forms of treatment, might have become more mainstream in the absence of modern medical technology. As a result, while the progress of medical science would have been delayed, human ingenuity would still have found ways to push the boundaries of healthcare, albeit in a different form. The world without smartphones and computers. In today's world, smartphones, computers, and other electronic devices are integral to everyday life. These devices allow us to access information, communicate with others, and even manage our health and finances. In a world without electricity, however, these technologies would never have existed. Without electricity, computers as we know them today would not have been invented. Early forms of computing might have taken a different shape, with mechanical devices playing a much larger role in the development of computation. For example, Charles Babbage's analytical engine, considered the first mechanical computer, might have evolved into a much more advanced form of mechanical computing, but without electricity, digital computers as we know them would have been impossible. Likewise, the smartphone, an essential tool for communication and information sharing, would never have been invented. In place of smartphones, humans might have developed alternative communication tools, but their capabilities would likely have been far less advanced than those provided by electric-powered technology. That's all for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more fascinating insights. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and stay tuned for our next video. Thanks for watching.